Hey guys, this is Hunter Levine, and thank you for checking out the Captain's Collective podcast, brought to you by Skinny Water Culture, Florida Fishing Products, Turtle Box Audio, Costa Sunglasses, and Orvis Fly Fishing. Today we're back in Costa Rica with one of my all-time favorite stories, Donald Mc Guinness. Over the past couple years, I've had the opportunity to hear from a number of guides about how they began their journey into becoming a captain, and this is by far the most inspiring, incredible story that I've come across yet. At 13 years old, Don began guiding after losing his father in a tragic airplane accident. Him and his brother came together to take out his father's clients and began to find their own love and their own philosophy for chasing billfish in Central America. In this podcast, Don also shares with us about how he raises up mates and his hope for the next generation of captains in Central America. If you're enjoying this podcast, please help us out by sharing and subscribing. Also, if you're interested in taking a trip with Captain's Collective, go ahead and head to captainscollective.com, hit the Hosted Trips tab, and fill out a form for some more information. We hope that you guys enjoy this conversation and take away a lot from it. Thank you so much for listening. This is the Captain's Collective, Into the Jungle. All right, well, hey Donald, thanks so much for taking us out fishing the past couple of days. It's been really fun. A lot of species, got to see a lot of different area covered, I don't know, over 100 miles easily.
Yeah, we did, and it was great. The weather wasn't that good today, but we managed to catch a lot of fish today.
Yeah, and I think that's all part of the fun is on a day where it's rough and everybody's bouncing around everywhere and it's limiting a lot of opportunities. But then at the end of the day, we went to an amazing spot and we caught roosterfish, blue crevalle.
Mm-hmm.
What else? Cubera snapper,
rock snapper.
Yep.
Spanish mackerel.
The biggest needlefish I've ever seen.
I saw, yeah.
Yeah, that was a great needlefish.
Yeah, plenty of bites and plenty of fish around the boat.
And yeah, and got to see just a ton of coastline too, which was great. And I'm just really grateful for it. I really enjoyed it. I'd love to first just hear about your upbringing because I know you come from a long line of people who love to fish and fish competitively, fish as captains,
right,
etc. So tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I grew up like you said. You know, my background is definitely fishing. My dad used to do the same thing, and he started on the late 50s. And he actually opened the first fishing lodge in Central America called Rancho Estero Azul in Sierpe. And he mainly took a lot of people from the Chiquita Banana Company who work at Chiquita Banana, and they came from Florida. So they had their fishing background. Mm-hmm. What they didn't have was someone who knew the area. And my dad, he did a lot of snorkeling on the Terra River in Sierpe. So he knew exactly where the fish was. And my dad came as a retired Army from Corpus Christi. Mm-hmm. Married my mom, had 5 kids, and I'm the second one. And when we were at the Rancho Estero Azul, from 0 to 6 years old. After that, he met in Rancho Estero Azul in the middle of the 60s. He met American that used to fish there with him called Bob Griffin. And they decided to open together in Coiba Island, Fish Hannibal Bank, on the middle of the 60s, the first sport fishing lodge offshore. So they decided to go down there. We all, as family, moved down there, and they built a Club Pacifico of Panama. And they fish at Hannibal Banks. He did that for about 10 years. We obviously, a kid follow him, you know. And after that, on the middle of the 70s, he came down to Golfito area because her parents live here. And he started fishing here again, you know, in the area of South Pacific, Costa Rica, from the middle of the 60s until the end of, from the middle of the 70s until the end of the 80s. And we continue fishing and following his footsteps because he it's kind of like a tragic story because in 1979 he took small Cessna from Golfito to San Jose to see some customers. And the plane crashed and disappeared on the jungle for about 6 years.
Wow.
And actually, I was 13 years old, and my older brother was 14. And that season, there were customers. This is in September 1979. November, December, there were already customer booked on his boat. So when we were 13 and 14 years old, my brother and I took them out fishing, and we started fishing from them.
Wow.
On these waters, on the South Pacific. After that, I finished. I went to college for about 3 years, and I went to California, and I started fishing there about 6 years. Came back to Costa Rica on the middle of the 90s. Started fishing in Golfito again, and I went fishing from 1999 until 2003, from North Carolina all the way to Montauk in the East Coast. I fished that area commercially and sport fishing, came back, and I started fishing back here on the south part of Costa Rica all these years.
So take me back to when you were a kid, because I'm guessing that your dad had you on boats at a pretty young age. But what was your fishing like when you were a kid growing up?
Oh, no, my father used to take us to a place that I just took you. And 8, 9, 10 years old kid, when they see that many fish, and they see, at least what I saw, it was amazed, I mean, we were like hypnotized by all the nature, all the fish around us and everything. So even though I was in college, I decided to go fishing. It's just like more fun,
Yeah.
And great way to spend your life, on the ocean.
Did you do a lot of inshore fishing as a kid? Did you do anything off the shore? Or a lot of people start with rivers and brim, but I didn't know for you, was it always just big, huge fish with teeth, or did you have a season before?
We were fishing all the time. When we were kids, we were catching fish. When I was 6 years old, we were making hooks out of anything we can find and go to the river and fish. We fish. Even though our dad and my mom, they wanted us to study. It's like we couldn't help it. We wanted to go fishing. We came home 8, 9 years old, at 10 at night, after fishing, when we're fishing every day in any place that we wanted to.
What do you think was, as a kid, when you think back to fishing with your dad, what do you think the most important lesson was that he taught you?
Conservation. That was he take what you need and the rest release. Basically, my dad went, the first time he went to Cocos Island, which is 300 miles away from Costa Rica. He went down there and he was amazed of so many fish down there, and obviously right here. And when we started growing up, we learned how to appreciate nature on the ocean, wildlife together with all the fish. And obviously on the 70s and 80s, there was a lot more fish here than what we have right now, and everybody thinks about the global warming and all that, and that's the fish is going away. That's not really true, because we got national parks here, and anytime you can go down there and snorkel, you see the amount of fish on the national parks that we used to have around here. So the main thing here is now what you can keep on a day of fishing is what you can release on a day of fishing, to maintain the fishery healthy. And when you go to a place where you can catch trophy size fish, it's because the area is healthy. Then when you start catching small roosters or small snappers, and that place is not in good shape. And those are the signs that we have to look, in order to leave the place alone and wait until it recuperates.
Yeah, and your dad was very involved in Costa Rica conservation really early on. I mean, I guess really the beginning,
Yeah,
because he was kind of the spearhead of it. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
yeah. My dad taught us as kids. We had him until we were 13, at least me. Until
Hmm.
13 years old. But the years that I spent, he spent with me, together, we actually learn how to appreciate the environment and how to manage
Hmm.
the fisheries. And after that, I had a great opportunity to go to California
Hmm.
and learn the fishing management there, all the laws
Hmm.
there is, in order to maintain the fishery. And also, I spent a few years on the east coast of the United States. And even though it's a different ocean, but the regulations I learned when I came back to Costa Rica, in 2000, when I came back in 2004, and the fisheries here, they were not in good shape, especially the billfish. I
Hmm.
mean, we were exporting sailfish out of the country, 60,000 fish on 1 year, 480 tons, metric tons of
Wow.
sailfish. And we were running out of this fishery. And sport fishing needs sailfish and billfish in order to maintain the activity. So in 2008, we got together on the south part. We made a fishing association, and I was named the president of the association. We starting the talks in order to prohibit all billfish exportation.
Mm.
We managed to do that with the help of the government and other fishermen. And from 2008, this billfish exportation stopped. And together with that, we managed to make measurements in order to minimize
Hmm.
the capture of billfish because there was no more exportation, and to minimize the incidental catch. So, together with the government, we created areas where the billfish and the bait and the use of live bait on the long line will be prohibited. Together with that, and this is between 2008 2010, and in 2010 in Golfo Dulce, where we fish right here on the area, we managed together with the when I say together is because me and the association and other partners as fishermen,
Hmm.
with the small scale artisanal fishing fleet, we managed to create the largest responsible fishing area in Central America. This is in 2010. And Golfo Dulce was declared as the responsible fishing area, the biggest one in
Hmm.
Central America.
Wow.
So we prohibit the gill nets and the bottom long line, and we prohibit the shrimping, dragging nets on the bottom.
Hmm.
And we made a lot of studies in order to determine the size capture of the species that the small scale fisherman will
Hmm.
take,
Yeah.
to sell. After that, uh, we started a project in 2013. We finished 2016 in order for the prohibited tuna seiners. And together with the commercial fishing fleet, the middle fleet and the advanced fleet, the long line fleet,
Hmm.
together with the tourist or charter fleet, we managed to prohibit for seiners to fish. They were at 12 miles, and we kicked them out at 45.
Hmm.
And now last year we kicked them out at 65 miles.
Yeah.
So there's no tuna boats on the coastline of Costa Rica.
Hmm.
That's why we got so much tuna right now. And we're continue, doing this kind of efforts in order to manage what we have here in order for all these sectors, commercial, artisanal, touristic, all these sectors to have a better management of their resources so it can last longer for everybody to have fish all their life.
Yeah, and you can definitely tell the passion that you have for the fishery in the place, which is something that's pretty. You're very intense on the boat, but you're passionate about the fishery in the place, and I think that shows. Tell me about, let's go back to when you were 13, 14 years old and you're stepping into running a charter company with your brother. What do you feel like that taught you that you might have missed had you started later in life?
Well, I mean, with my father gone, I mean, and we in at that age, we wanted to follow example. So actually, it wasn't like really by choice, but we were obligated for the customers of those years. In 1979, there was no phones in Costa Rica, or at least where we were. So customers the year before, they already booked the week that they want to fish with my dad the next year. So these guys came from the United States and knocked at the house door, and they say, "Is Donald Mc Guinness here?" And I said, "No, we haven't seen him since September. We don't know what happened. He took a plane. Oh, we came to fish this week." So, my brother and I decided, our responsibility, well, let's take this guy fishing. So at that age, we came out of Golfito, with a big boat, not a small boat, like 42 footer, He was 14, I was 13.
Yeah. Not what you see every day in a big boat.
These
Two
guys, they were like,
kids,
they were like, but the guys knew how to, the customers, they were good fishermen. So I said, let's go. So we went, and they pay, so we took him out with my dad boats fishing, and we did that at least that season, for about 4 or 5 months. After that, I continued studying because my mother, she was like, "You cannot do that," and so she asked us to continue studying, so we did, and when we were like teenagers, like I said, I went to California in 1984, and the first place I went was Marina del Rey. It was 3,000 boats there, and my dad was American citizen, so we have dual citizenship, all my brothers, So after I went up there, I sent my older brother to come after a year and a half, so he went up there also, and we started working at Marina del Rey. And after 2 years working there, I bought a 30-footer, and I took people out fishing in Marina del Rey.
How old were you at that point?
I was 19. When I got there, I was 18. And 19 and a half, I already had a boat.
Was there ever a chance for you to not be a guide? I mean, it sounds like, from 14 on, even though you went to college and everything, that you were pretty dead set on it.
Yeah, well, when I went to college about 2 years, and I went with economics, and legislation, whole bunch of stuff. But growing up in Golfito, like on this area, and moving to the capital city in San Jose, cars, and this and that, and no ocean, not even a river around,
Yeah.
So, I had the opportunity because my family, I have 4 more brothers. So we're doing economically, we're not doing real well, because my dad's still missing. My mom was a teacher, and my younger brother was 10 years old. I was already 18. So I decided to go to find money, work in California. Leave my studies, and I had the chance to go to California because I went to apply for a visa with a Costa Rican passport. And when I went to the embassy and I asked me to come back 8 days for my passport, the ambassador asked for me, the consul. So I went up to his office, and he actually said to me that he fished with my dad once a month. We knew something about him.
Yeah.
And I said no. So I said, "Why don't you apply for the citizenship?" So he actually, in 2 weeks, I had the American passport. Because he knew him, and he knew what happened with the plane and everything. So after that, when I got the passport, I left to Los Angeles. It was the Olympic Games in Los Angeles in '84. So I said there's a good chance if I go up there, I can get a job down there. So, and I got down there in a weekend, and I stay in a hotel close to Marina del Rey just by luck because I didn't know anything, you know. And when I got a job at Marina del Rey, I was working on a boat yard fixing boats, and I knew about how to handle a boat, move boats, and when I was there for about a year, I was bringing boats from Los San Diego to LA, new boats, and putting the electronics, working on the varnish, fiberglass, bottom paint, and I make enough money to buy my own boat down there, 30-footer. So after that, I got a fishing license, and I start on the weekends taking out people fishing for charters down there. So this is 18, this is 19, 19 and a half, 20, 21, and I stayed in Los Angeles about 9 more years. And on the early 90s, I came back to live here. I mean, I used to come every year to Costa Rica. My father was found in the year 87, so I went to the site where the plane crashed, and we buried his bones with the family and everything. Went back to California. This is in 86, and went back, and I came back on the early 90s, and I started working on the early 90s on, I had Aquasport. I bought an Aquasport.
Yeah.
And started fishing chartering here. And there was, on the middle of the 90s, there was a fishing operation in Panama called Coiba Explore, out of Golfito. So I worked there for a few years in Coiba Island, where my father built the lodge. And I felt like home, in contact with him every day, because he fished on the areas that I was fishing, especially right here also. So I worked there for a few years, and then they opened Sailfish Rancho on the late 90s again. And I worked for Sailfish Rancho for about 1 season, and I met some Americans, guys that came fishing there, commercial guys. They were from North Carolina. At that time, I was on the 30s, middle of the 30s. So the guy, because he saw me fishing, and there was 3 guys that fish commercially in North Carolina, they said, do you want to come and mate for me up there? And I said, sure, So he sent me a plane ticket, and I went in 1999. I went to North Carolina, and I fished commercially there for about 4 years, 4 seasons, and came back here. And I bought my own boat, like a Boston Whaler 30, and I started chartering again, out of Golfito. Built a small marina down there called Fish Hook for a millionaire called Fred Thurston. And I was running a 38 Bertram and a 55 Hatteras out of Golfito for about 2 years. And I came back to Puerto Jimenez, helped my friend Sean, the owner of Parrot Bay. And I was running a CV for about a year. I went to Boca Chica and built him a small lodge called Capitan Morgan. Came back to Golfito. Basically, I did what my dad,
back to Golfito.
To Golfito, yeah. And then I bought the Boston Whaler, and I worked the Boston Whaler for about 2 years. After that, I met a very rich guy called Paul Turo Jones, who just bought property here, 2008. And I was the captain. He hired me to be his captain, and he has a 61 Tribute, a real fast boat. So I worked for him as a captain for about 10 years. And 2 years before I left, I bought this boat and started chartering. And I've been doing this from 2018 until I met you guys. Today.
Tell us about this boat, because we're sitting here recording. I spent the past 2 days on it.
This is
Why this boat?
This boat is an island hopper, and a friend of mine on the year 2004 came from Florida. He navigated this boat from Florida all the way to Golfito in order for him to be an American guy called Chuck Tilton. That's his name. He's still in Florida. He's a good friend of mine. So when he came to Golfito and I was building the marina down there, he asked me please to help him start the charter business. So I went out with him for about a month and a half, and I teach him, how to fish in this area because it's different. I set up the boat for fishing and all that, so he started his charter business, and he was successful for about 5-6 years. And then he decided to go back to Florida, so he put the boat in trailer, kept it there, and in 2016 he put it for sale. So I knew how the boat fish, and the boat fish real well, and it's a perfect charter boat. So when I decided to leave the Typhoon, I offered him money for the boat, and he said, "Yeah, take it." So I fixed it up because he was abandoned for about 8 years. And I decided to charter the boat. I mean, this is the charter boat for me, and this is the size boat, perfect size boat for me. I can take 5 people, 6 people. I can take 2 people, and still, the boat's very flexible in order for the fishing that we do here, either inshore or offshore. I set it up with the perfect outriggers. I mean, the outriggers are for a 55-footer. This is a 30-footer. And all the I've been on the I would say the last 4 tournaments, and all the en Quepos and here in this place we haven't win the tournament, but we have podium, in all the tournaments. And the first tournament we got in, we got the most marlin release and the biggest dorado. It was a tuna tournament, but we got the most marlin release and the biggest dorado. So basically, I do love to fish for marlin. I mean, that's my passion, I mean, like, marlin is like the top predator out there. But we do know a lot of places where we can go inshore fishing, and have a very successful day. And we catch sailfish, tuna. But I like always to focus on the fish where it's hard to catch anywhere else. You know what I mean? Because you can catch tuna anywhere, rooster fish anywhere, snappers anywhere, even mahi or dorado, But the marlin and the marlin and sailfish, like a steady fish or marlin, only on this area. That's why I'm here.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, I know where the marlins are, I know the time they're here, when they bite, what they eat. And I had released, so many marlins, I lost count, I mean, the best day of marlin release I had, I released 35 marlins in one day.
Wow.
And the next day we released 34. So we released 69 marlins in 2 consecutive days. And we find trash lines and logs, we'll be able to release between 12 and 15 marlins a day here, in the area. So, I have so many seasons of my life from now on, I mean, I've been fishing for 43 years. And when people come to this boat, and they've been chartering other boats for 10 years, and they come to this boat, and I cannot say we guaranteed to catch a marlin, but we have very good possibility, to catch marlin, because that's what we aim for. So the guys, they come here and they catch 1 or 2 marlins a day, or 3 or 4 marlins, and they're like, they tell me, this is my dream come true. I've been chartering for 5-6 years, I haven't catch 1 marlin in my life. They come to this boat and charter one day, and I catch 3 marlins. And that's like, for me, seeing a customer happy, because they caught on this boat what they couldn't catch anywhere in 10 years, that's my reward. Let's put it that way. That's
And today, you said that we went to a spot that you used to go to with your father as a kid.
Yeah.
When you're out there, do you feel a connection with him?
Oh yeah, every time if the boat start, and I can go fishing, he's with me. That's for sure. He's with me, and all the knowledge that he transferred to me, and the passion, and the how he felt fishing, that's exactly how I feel fishing. You know,
What do you feel like were some of the most important things outside of conservation that he passed to you?
family. I would say pass on the knowledge to like this kid right here that we have, and teach not only to catch how to catch fish, but also how to manage the fishery to anybody who likes to do this. You know, so that I think that's the my heritage from him. You know, what I learned from him. You know, because he was a great fisherman. My dad, you know, I mean, his people still talking about him 40 years after.
Yeah.
The places that he used to fish, the places that I visit, and they see me and they say, "You're Donald Mc Guinness son, right?" And I say, "Yeah." "Oh, I remember your dad, you know." And this is 40 years ago, 43 years ago. And you know, I mean, going to a place and being recognized by him, you know, and not by me. That's for me. That's like a big reward, you know. And people telling stories about, you know, that he let go this fish, you know, because he was full of eggs, you know, ready to spawn, you know, and this kind of stuff, you know. It's like, it's just, I'm proud, you know. I'm proud to be his son, and I'm proud to do what he was doing before he died, you know. And even though he want me to do something else, you know,
Yeah.
there's he had that battle lost, you know. It's no way, you know. There's no way I cannot do what he was doing, because it's just what I do is I chose to do this because it makes it fulfills my life, you know. And like going out fishing and taking people out fishing for experience that they never had on their life, you know. I know I have to make money, but I can do this for free. You know, I mean, but I have to make a living somehow out of this, you know. But like a family will come here, you know, and it's just different, you know. I mean, we go out fishing and we raise 10 sailfish, we catch 6 sailfish, we raise 1 marlin, catch 1 marlin, and all these people, they come from everywhere, you know, Europe, most of the United States. I mean, when a kid sees a fish like I used to see it with my dad, you know, and it's like he'll never forget that the rest of his life, and he'll never forget the dos mas, you know, and he'll never forget me, you know, because they go back home and they say, "Yeah, you know, a captain in Costa Rica, we caught the biggest fish I saw in my life," you know. I know that happened, you know. And like today, you know, one of the customers offered me a sandwich, you know. And, "Donald, you want a sandwich?" You know, and I said, "Yeah, great." You know, it's like a paying customer is making me a sandwich, you know. It's like, you know, that's I want to go fishing back with him, you know. It's no problem. Actually, when you meet people and you take them out fishing, you on this boat at least, or the way I feel at least, you know that you're gonna have a friend for the rest of your life, you know, and that's enough reward, you know. And there's people that come fishing here, you know, and they have enough money, and they book the boat 30 years out of the 30 days out of the year in different months, you know, because they're home, you know. "Oh, I want to go fishing with Donald," you know. "If the marlins are biting," I say, "Yeah, the marlins are biting." So they come and fish 4 days, and then 4 days next month, and so and so.
Yeah.
So, you know, I mean, I fish a lot, you know, and we catch a lot of fish, you know, and people come back to this boat because we go hunting, we go fishing, you know. I mean, we don't come back until we catch what we want, the target that we want, you know. And it don't matter if it's 7 at night and we're hooked up with a big tuna, you know, it's 10 o'clock at night until we catch it, you know. I mean, we're out there to catch fish. I mean, we're out there to catch what we want, even though we keep it or release it, you know. But if we have a target and people are paying, and the fish is around, they're gonna buy sooner or later. You gotta wait.
Yeah.
You gotta wait.
Well, that happened today.
That happened today.
We were there for a little bit, and then
Yeah, exactly. It turned on. I told you,
Yeah.
so we're gonna go slow from here on and waiting for the tide.
Mm-hmm.
So we wait for the tide. We got there like half hour earlier. But I knew that when the tide changes, all the prey is there, and we have to just wait for the predators to arrive.
Mm-hmm.
And we were there at the right time,
Yeah.
And it was turned on. I mean, we could have stayed there and catch so many more fish, but we had to come back, Look at the time we came back,
Yeah, and it was a little rough today.
It was rough,
bumpy.
it was rough. But I mean, I what I wanted this trip, it was to catch at least, all kinds of different species in respectable sizes, like nice sizes,
Yeah.
and we did that,
Yep, accomplished.
Yeah.
And that was my first marlin. So.
Oh, okay, yeah,
so,
good,
I mean,
good.
very cool to see, and just a lot of. I think we were counting. I think we caught 9 different species.
Uh-huh.
I think is what we caught the past 2 days.
Well,
so.
there is about 25 different kinds inshore, and it's about 6 offshore. So, I mean,
And we came close to getting a sale, but
oh yeah, we have 5 bites.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were like picky.
yeah,
yeah. It was
every,
picky.
every time. But do you have a story that you would say is your craziest story from all your time out here?
I would say in Panama, yeah. I mean, in Panama, we went fishing. I mean, we wanted to go out there, and I mean, the guy, Sean, the owner of Parrot Bay, he said, Panama? I said, sure, I fixed 6 years down there.
Mm-hmm.
So we took the 2 CVs down there, 26 CVs with outboards. So we went down there for a week trip. So Panama, Hannibal Bank is like the black marlin spot on the south, on Central America. I mean, that's where you catch and release most black marlins than anywhere else. I fish there, and it's a lot of black marlin there. So this is 2006. So we go out there, and Sean wanted just to fish in short. And I said, what the hell? I mean, we're like 2 days already here. And we're catching monster roosters, and blue jacks and snappers.
Yeah.
Wahoos everywhere, and I'm like, I told him, it's like, Len, we're in Hannibal Bank. We gotta catch a marlin. We cannot leave here without catching at least 1 marlin. And the Orbo already releasing 3 marlins, in the last 2 days. And he's like, okay, well, tomorrow before we leave, we could go down there and try to catch one, and it's like, okay, great. So the bait to catch the bonitos was tough. So around 9 in the morning, we caught a couple of bonitos, and we were on top of the Hannibal Bank. And I saw a whole bunch of bait, going out of the water, I mean, the other boats already hooked up a 200-pound black marlin. So I ran out where the all the bait jump out, and we dropped the 2 bonitos down there, and we had 1 bite. So this line, start taking a Tiagra, a 50 with 100-pound spider wire. So that thing takes off, and Sean is like, down, and I say, wait, because I'm pretty sure that's the last barley we're gonna see today here, So he set the hook on, circle hook, and that fish started jumping. It was over 1,000 pounds. And we got, after 4 hours, Sean was named the 8th man around the world to cut over 1,000-pound black marlin stand up. He fished that fish for 4 hours. And the fish, we measured the fish. I mean, we released it alive after 4.5 hours. And we measured the whole fish, from jaw to tail, and around the girth and everything. We sent the measurement to Marlin Magazine. And they said that marlin, it was a black, over 1,236 pounds. It was a blue, over 1,100 pounds. So it was a black. So, we after we cut it, we cut the leader, and I tie up like a 1/4-inch rope on the bill because it was too big to hold it, that fish. And I tied it to the cleat, and we towed the fish for about half hour. And then when he started billing the boat, actually he was billing the boat. I cut the rope, because it released successfully alive.
Wow.
Because it was too big fish, I mean that fish only moved a mile around the Hannibal Bank, and he never went more than 300 feet deep. So he was pretty in good shape. We finally caught it. I got it from the bill, and we measured it.
Yeah.
And that marlin, according to Marlin Magazine, it was over 1,236 pounds. It's black. And 30 years before, my dad caught one black marlin at 1,062 out of Golfito in 1979. This one we caught it in 2006, 80 miles away from Golfito. And what I know is that from the south of Mexico all the way to Colombia, there is no marlin record over 1,000-pound caught on the last 30 years. So I'm pretty sure that Hannibal Bank marlin, that's the last one right here.
Wow.
So, this like, I feel like, and it was in Father's Day,
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In Hannibal Bank when my dad used to fish, and this is in Father's Day. So I'm like, this is like, how can I not feel that my dad is with me when I'm fishing,
Yeah.
It's like that story that I will never forget,
Yeah. That's an amazing story.
Yeah.
And I know, you care about the future generations of
That's
people
the
who
most
come
important.
behind you.
Yeah, that's the
And
most important
You have a
thing.
reputation for being tough, but being one of the best when it comes to raising up good mates that become captains.
Oh, yeah.
And I know I talked about Andy, who was on the boat the past 2 days, is one of the smoothest, best first mates I've ever seen. Tell me a little bit about your philosophy and how you raise up mates.
Well, what we do on the boat is watch and learn. This what we do here. It's not taught or teach anywhere else. You gotta be on the boat. You gotta put hours. You gotta wake up in the morning. If you don't like this, you cannot do it. If you think this is a job to make money, don't go in a boat. The amazing thing of fishing is going out there and realize that nothing is written. Don't expect. You go out there and anything can happen. You can have a 200-pound fish or you can have a 600-pound fish. And the mentality that you have to have when you jump on the boat and going out fishing, first is being with God. Without God, you cannot, and hoping that that's gonna be the best day, unforgettable day that you can have. And if somebody wants to do this, it's working. You have to love it before. You have to start fishing when you're a kid. Because this is like college. This will be like college, and you have to learn by doing everything, and first what you have to do is ask whoever wants to do this, make sure that this is what they want to do. That way you invest time on him, and then he's going to do something else. So you have to ask, their fishing background. You fish when you were a kid, this, that, and when you see someone who is fishing on his life, as a kid, and you see him working in other small boats, and you see how they develop, their passion, that they really love what they do, you ask him, you want to go on this boat, and learn something else. And everybody knows this boat, everybody knows me. So, just by informing by pictures, or public what we catch, and the other boats don't catch nothing, and we always catch marlin or we catch this. The people who wants to learn know that this is the place to be, because the boat is very successful on the capture, and billfish or this or that. So they see the boat like school. So I mean, I have a lot of kids, they're teenagers, they're studying and all that, that they want to jump on this boat and learn, and I'm willing to teach everybody. Like, I've been teaching all my life, as I have maybe like 18 captains. I mean, 8 guys, they're captains now. They went through me and they will always are in contact, I mean, it's like, thanks to you, I have this job. Thank you, thank you for teaching me. And I've been doing that, all my life, I mean, teaching everything that I know. Because you become friends with everybody, and teaching this is the only thing you can do. Because when you're gone, you take all your knowledge away, and you have to pass this, I mean, how the fish behave, where the fish supposed to be, which bait, how to pitch bait the bait, how to hook the fish, how to release it safely, and all these things that so people don't get hurt if they're gonna do this. And if you, the north of Costa Rica is charter fishing. It's touristic. It's not commercial. And the most, if you create more jobs, and the industry grow up, the tourist sector will have at least the first 40 miles to fish, and instead of, interacting with commercial fleet, doing bycatch of what we do, catch and release. And that's the goal, to for the guys that come every day home after fishing and see their families, and not, spending 22 days on a commercial boat killing all the fish, and not seeing the family, So I believe that the Costa Rican tourist industry should grow, I mean, we're building marinas around, and there is money and there is jobs, with at least a sustainable fishery, to catch and release, and I think Costa Rica should be the point of the spear in Central American countries, we have to compete with Panama and Guatemala, but I think we have the infrastructure and the education here in order to create a better industry of sport fishing, sustainable, and to create more capacitated people, fishermen, captains, mates, in order to do the right thing when becomes to catching and releasing fish. Yeah.
My last question is, if somebody were just to ask you on the street, why Costa Rica? Why Corcovado? Or should I say Golfo? How do I say it? Golfo Dulce?
Golfo Dulce, yeah.
So if somebody were to ask you that, what would your response be?
What do you mean?
So let me re-ask it. If somebody were to ask you what makes this place so special, why'd you keep coming back here over and over? How would you answer that?
This area right here? Because people around here, I would say because people around here, it has a environmental conservation conscious, and it's easy to explain to the people that live here how to do the right thing in order to have sustainability of the activities. Let's put it that way. In Panama, it's very hard. Nicaragua is out of the question. El Salvador also. And Costa Rica, just to let you know, it has an advantage of all Central American countries, because the fish here show up on between December. Billfish show up here between December and April, because Costa Rica has a high range mountains right here, and those mountains avoid that the winds go straight to the ocean. Only in Guanacaste and Panama there is flat. The winds go through the Caribbean winds go through the land and hit the Pacific, and that drives away all the bait. But the middle of Costa Rica, in some part of Guatemala, and in Piñas Bay, the mountains there are high. So these winds, what they do, they go up to the mountain, and all the fish between December and April get pushed because the bait comes in because there is no wind in front of the coastline of the Pacific. So these fish, the billfish, follow the bait that the wind blows inside Costa Rica. So the amount of billfish that we have here, Piñas Bay and Guatemala, is created by an atmospheric event that bring all the bait inside those months out of the year, and all the billfish start coming in. North Panama, Central Costa Rica. And this is why these places has fish, because the bait comes in. And the most prolific water is in Costa Rica. Plus, we have Coco Island about 300 miles away, and we have a lot of ocean here that belongs on the Pacific, Costa Rica. And if we do the right thing on conservation, we have this fish here alive the rest of our lives, you know. And right here in Costa Rica, different than Guatemala and Panama, we have the infrastructure for the people to come here and do something that only can do in the jungle or offshore, you know. But they can come in an air conditioning room and rest at night. You know, in Panama, if you cannot do that. In the rest of the countries, you cannot do that because they don't have the infrastructure. Why? I fish in Panama, and you have to make your own ice to bring it on the boat. You have to carry your own fuel to bring it on the boat. You know, it's very hard down there. No infrastructure. Right here we have marinas, piers, you know, and all the facilities in order to develop a sustainable charter fishing, you know, right here. I mean, even outboard parts, diesel, a prop, you know, I mean, you hit a prop here and you have a place to fix it. In Panama, you have to go to Panama City to fix it. You know, so everything that we have around Costa Rica here are facilitating the development a charter fishing, sport fishing industry that can be successful, and we have the fish resources here to do it. Why Costa Rica? Because it's very close to any place in the United States, like North Carolina, you know. We have a government who's willing to protect the fishing resources that we need. We have the infrastructure in order to sustain sport fishing industry, and not only charter fishing, but private boats come here from the United States and fish on the season, you know, for 3-4 months because they have all the facilities to do it. You know, this is why we come back here.
Well, I've enjoyed it. I love it. Been able to see a lot of cool stuff, and excited to go in the jungle tomorrow.
Okay.
But amazing experience. Thank you for your time. It's been really great to just get to see how you operate and catch some amazing fish with you. So thank you so much for all the hospitality.
Yes, sir. We'll be here until God let us